Once you have decided which one of these you want to use, what you're going to do is go ahead and double click on it. Click on this drop down right here and do download. What this is going to do is it's going to download the entire folder, and you're going to want to move that folder into your graphic design folder and go ahead and rename it ID underscore whatever the name of the folder is. So you're just adding the ID in front of basketball or Harley or whatever. All right, once you have that, go ahead and open up InDesign, and you're going to start by going to File and New. And then what we're going to choose is we're going to choose Print, and we're going to change the units of measurement to inches. We just want to make sure that it's 8.5 by 11 inches. We're going to go ahead and choose Facing Pages, and we're going to type in 5, and I'll explain in just a second why. So we're going to do 5. We're going to leave all of these other things set up exactly the way it is, because every magazine spread that you're going to have is going to be slightly different. So that's why I'm going to have you, before you turn it in, I want to take a look at what you've got when you think you're done, and I'll tell you if there's some adjustments that need to be made. But each spread is different. So this is the first time using these. We'll kind of see how it goes. So then go ahead and hit create. And then over here on the right, go ahead and choose pages. If your pages are not showing up, go to window and just pull down to pages, and it'll pop up this palette. Now, one of the things that you'll notice is when we have facing pages, yours might be smaller than mine. I have mine set up to be pretty big. If you go here, if you want to match it up closer to mine, you can go to panel options. That's just clicking on this bar right there. And I changed the size to jumbo. Yours is probably looking more like something like that, but I like having mine larger. So I'm going to go ahead and try jumbo. All right, cool. Now what I'm going to do is I want to get rid of this one page, but see, if I just hit delete, it ripped the other two pages apart. So I don't want to do that. So what I'm going to do instead is this. I'm going to go in and I am going to highlight these pages. And the way that I did that is I selected page 2, I held down the shift key, and I clicked on page 5. Now I'm going to right click, and I'm going to go here where it says allow document pages to shuffle. I'm going to turn that off. Then I'm going to right click again, and I'm going to allow selected spreads to shuffle. I'm going to turn that one off. And notice it just put these brackets together. What that's doing is it's grouping those two pages together so that if I move these around, they'll kind of stick together. It's also then going to allow me to take this page and delete it. So now I have those two spreads that are together. All right, let's take a look at this next part. So I'm going to zoom out just a little bit so I can see the pieces here. Now you'll notice right now there's only one column. It doesn't really look like a column, but it's this one giant column. We're going to fix that, but yours are going to be different depending on the photos we used. So the first thing I'm going to do here is I'm going to go to File and Place, and I'm going to place the photo that's inside of that box. So I'm going to choose my, oops, that's not the right one. I'm going to go to the folder that I created. And I'm going to go ahead and highlight that first one and click open. And I'm going to come up here onto the first spread, and I'm going to come up here into the corner and kind of line this up. See how the little white is still showing up? I'm going to line that up as best I can, and I'm going to click. Now that should fit in the entire page. If it does not, you can use your arrow keys to nudge it around, and we'll play around with getting that close. But there's the first spread. And then I'm going to scroll down to the second spread. I'm going to press Command D as in dog. That's the keyboard shortcut for place. Don't ask me why. I have no idea. D is nowhere in there, but all right. P is already taken up for print and whatever. We'll go ahead and click open. I'm going to come up here over into the corner, and I'm going to purposely mess it up a little bit. See how it's not exactly on the edge? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to move that down. There we go. Press Command 0, that'll zoom back out. Command minus a couple times. And now I have those two pieces set up. Now what I want to do is I want to go to my layers panel, and I want to create a new layer. This bottom layer is where the photos are. So I'm just going to put down template right here. I'm going to click OK. And then on layer 2, I'm just going to type in my work. All right, awesome. Now what I want to do is I want to fade these out just a little bit. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this first photo, And I want to go to, where are they hiding it now with my opacity? There it is. Opacity is right here. If you don't have this bar showing up, go to Window, go to Workspace, and do Essentials Classic. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to fade this out. Now, the exact amount to fade out, I'm not sure. It's going to vary depending on the photos. So I'm just going to put this at about 25% or so. I'm going to do the same thing here. I think I did 27, whatever. There we go. Okay, so those two things are faded. Now what I want to do is with those boxes, so I don't accidentally move these photos out of the way, I'm going to lock the layer. So with my layers panel here, under template, I'm going to turn that little lock box on. All right, now what I'm going to do is if you don't have a lot of columns of text on your first page, then I'm going to start with my second page. So what I'm going to do is this. I'm going to come over to here. I'm going to go to my pages and just double check to make sure that that one's selected. Excellent, that one's selected. So I'm going to hide that one. And now what I want to do is I want to try to figure out where is this grid at? You'll notice for the most part, this one's kind of lined up right along with this pink line for the margins. It might not be exact because the photo's slightly off, but that's okay. We're going to get it as close as we can. But then I'm looking here and it looks like there's another column here. There's a column of text there. There's a column of text here. So to me, it looks like there's currently a 3-column grid. Yours might be more depending on the magazine you choose. It might be less. Here's the cool part. We can always go back and make adjustments to it. So I'm going to assume this is a 3-column grid. So I'm going to come up here under layout. I'm going to go to margins and columns. And I'm going to come in here under columns and I'm going to start putting in numbers. Now you'll notice here, this is where it looks like it's pretty darn close. If I go to 4, I could go to 6. That gives me, so I'm looking to see like if there's anything that might use a 6-column grid, but it doesn't really look like it. So I'm going to go ahead and move this back up to 3. And then on the top margin and the bottom margin, I'm looking to see where does the text or the frame kind of bottom out. So down here, it looks like this pink line is too low compared to where the bottom of the text and the box is here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off my lock, because if I don't turn this off and I make a change, it'll make a change to all 4 of these. So I'm going to go down here to my bottom one. Let's see when I'm increasing this, decreasing it. There it goes. Now it's starting to kind of move in a little bit. The cool part is I can zoom in here if I want. Although it's not letting me now. Nice. All right, so let me go back up to here. Undo it. Ended up undoing a little ways back and I screwed up all of my sides. So let's go ahead and unlink this. What I'm doing on this one is I'm looking for where does it line up at the top. Down here, I'm going to be looking for where does it line up at the bottom. And with the bottom part, what I'm really looking for is where the majority of the text is, not necessarily where the folio is at. Looks like I messed up the outside edge. Need to get that one tucked in just a little bit. And then I'm going to take the inside. Inside has to do with this gutter that's here in the center. So it looks like the gutter is actually much larger. Oops, I keep hitting the wrong one. Inside. There we go. So you notice when I changed this so that it would line up closer with this, how it did a much better job of not having stuff go inside of these gutters. What I'm really looking to make sure is that you don't have text boxes that run inside of the gutters themselves. You don't want to have photos stopping halfway through a gutter either. So notice this picture spans 2 columns. This picture goes all the way across the main gutter. This one, the text frame, this goes across 2. So you want to make sure that they're lined up. Definitely call me over. This is a vital part of setting up a grid. So call me over when you're getting close to this if you're not sure if something is right. And I will help you fix that, because that's going to definitely be really, really useful. Now, when you go back up to the front one, depending on what you have in here, you may not have a need to set this up. If there's not long columns of text, don't worry about setting up the grid as far as how many numbers of columns you're going to use. But you do want to set up the margins, at least on this outside piece. When I'm looking at this, it's looking pretty close, but I'm just going to go ahead and leave it. All right. So then the next step that you're going to do is you're going to actually go through and set up, just like you did with the King Kong pieces, go to layers, go to your My Work layer. Notice on this one, when there's this pencil with a cancel sign, it means I'm on a layer that's locked. So that's reminded me I needed to go to My Work layer. Now from here, you're going to go through and you're actually going to construct and find a font to be able to construct this look. If you want to suck up the color that's inside of here, grab your eyedropper and choose eyedropper tool, not color theme tool. Choose that one. That's going to let you suck up the color if you want to use that color somewhere. You're going to go through and reconstruct as best you can the major text that you see. So the big headings, and then the folio. And then when you get down to the second page, you're going to do the same thing. When you're putting in a photo, go ahead and grab this box, this frame. Go ahead and just grab that frame. I'm going to change the color of that frame to a gray. So I'm just going to change it to a black and then probably knock this down. There we go. Now I've got a gray box. I'll do the same thing here. You just want to make sure you're not stopping it halfway through a column. You want it to go all the way out. I'm going to use my eyedropper and suck up that color to save myself some time. You're going to then go in and start to work with threading your text columns through here. And you will use the type fill with placeholder text. Where the heck is this thing at? Oh, it's because I don't have a column. Yeah, that happens. Notice when I'm setting up this column, I didn't snap it all the way to the edge of that pink. I want it to snap. So I'm going to make that frame. And then I'm going to make another text frame. I'm going to continue to build this. The reason I'm stopping on this one is I want to make sure that I don't end up putting stuff in here that's got a different font. So this is a different font size. So I'm going to stop it right there. And then I'm going to make my other text box. May as well keep going. Notice I haven't put any text in that yet. There's a reason for that. I'm going to show you a way to thread text across multiple columns, much like we did before, but just to get some extra practice. I know this part's not the most exciting thing to watch, but I'm hoping this is going to be helpful to get you at least started. And then you're going to be on your own to figure out a lot of the other pieces. What I'm going to do is I'm going to come down here and I'm going to click on this box right here. This is called the out port. Notice there's a lot of other boxes there, so be careful and make sure you choose the correct one. It's that one right there. This now turns into a chain link. I can click on that next text frame I created. I can click on this chain link, click on the text box, click on this chain link. So I'm linking those out ports. I'm clicking to there. And then once I have that, I can come into this very first part. I can do fill with placeholder text. Now that text is way too big compared to the size of the text that's in here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shrink this down until it starts to look about the same size as what they've got. I might have to go in and adjust the leading. Remember, that's the amount of line spacing. That one's looking pretty good. And then notice now, since I shrunk the font size, the text isn't flowing all the way to the other columns. This is the cool part about having threaded columns. I'm going to click inside of here and press Command A to select all. And I'm just going to go back in and do type, fill with placeholder text. Boom. It kicks all the way across. Now, if you've got subheadings and other stuff, you're going to have to do more things to make that work. But I can help you with that. And then you'll continue to build the rest of this. Set up your text frame for this piece. Set up a box in the background, a picture box. Type out the larger text, but use filler text for the smaller bits. As always, if you run into any problems or questions, let me know. That will get you started, and then I'll be around to help you to be able to make the fine-tuned details.